Gamers, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury is now out. This means I'm probably already playing it, trying to dodge every single coins to bring out a fresh hot video out of the oven real soon. But in the meantime, let's say goodbye to the Wii U version by doing one final challenge. A couple of months ago, we tried to beat this game without pressing left, and today I want to try to beat it without pressing right. Yup, that's right. The rules are simple. We are going to try to beat Super Mario 3D World without pressing right on the control stick or the D-pad. You might think this is impossible, as most levels want you to move right, but that's what a noob would say. You gotta be creative and find ways to move right without pressing right. And there's many ways to do that, such as using the camera and moving it around, doing cat dives, rolls, long jumps, etc. In order to finish this challenge, we have to collect 170 green stars to open up the final level and defeat Meowser. That's it. Now that everything has been explained, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to make sure not to miss the Bowser's Fury video, and let's just jump into it. Right after jumping out of the clear pipe at the beginning, you might be wondering how we're even going to go to World 1-1, considering we have to go right to just enter the stage. Well, simply tilt the camera and go down, and then tilt it again and move up. And there you go, you big-brained your way to World 1-1, a very easy level that will actually teach you how to use what I name the zigzag technique. Simply move the camera left and then move up, or move the camera right and go down, and this will allow you to move in a zigzag pattern and move right without ever pushing right. Using this technique, we'll be able to clear this level without a single issue. World 1-2 is a narrow underground level, but we can still tilt the camera around and move right without pushing right. When you're out of a clear pipe and you're facing the right side like this, well, you can also do some cat dives to move right without pressing right. Let's climb up this wall and use the secret exit to reach World 2 instantly. World 2-1 is up, and you might be wondering why I'm almost never using Mario for this challenge. Well, simply put, he doesn't have a special ability. Luigi can jump higher, Toad runs faster, and Princess Peach glides in the air, so you'll bet I'll be using these guys before Mario, which doesn't do anything special. The sand level is not very difficult, but get ready to do lots of cat dives to move to the right, as the camera isn't always being nice to us in this stage, especially in this section filled with narrow bridges. The camera just tilts back on its own without you being able to do much about it. Keep fighting the camera and you'll be able to reach the end of the stage. We cannot actually go to World 2-2 right now because we don't have enough green stars, so let's go to 2-3, and this level takes place underground, in a narrow area where you cannot move the camera around at all. Uh-oh. I was able to use this left wall to wall jump and face the right side, and after doing a bunch of cat dives, cat rolls, and all sorts of shenanigans, I made my way to the right side. I did manage to enter the door and reach the 2D section. This part is also very easy to complete, but as soon as you get out of it and leave out of that door, you'll be facing down, with no wall to climb on and still no camera to move around. I tried using the touch screen, climbing up the top wall, but there's just nowhere to go from here. This level is not possible without pushing right. That's a big problem, but this stage is on a split path, so let's go back to World 1 to gather more green stars, and hopefully we'll be able to clear 2-2 later in the quest. World 1-A is super easy, just jump on the charging chucks and defeat them. 1-3 is a level where you'll be moving up to climb up this big mountain, and since you can tilt the camera left and right, you can actually beat it without any problem whatsoever. 1-4 is a Plessie level, and I was afraid this one was going to be a problem because we could have to move Plessie left and right, but thankfully it isn't. You can just move Plessie onto this left wall over there, and you just chill until the end of the level. Yup, it's that easy. 1-5 might look like a difficult stage, considering you have to hit those question mark tiles, but you can actually just use the Wii U gamepad to tap them without ever needing to move your character around. Now this is something I'll be missing in the Switch version for sure. 1-Captain Toad is next, and these Captain Toad levels are actually no threat in the quest, as you can actually move the camera in all directions. That means you'll get some awkward camera angles most of the time, but you can still beat it without pushing the right D-pad. 1-Castle is up, and this level is not that hard for the quest. Plus, you can use the touchscreen to tap the green coins and collect some green stars, making this super easy. The fight against Bowser usually asks you to kick the footballs back at Bowser's face, but when doing some speedruns of this game, my chat taught me that you can just swipe up on the gamepad and send the balls flying back at Bowser's face, so this fight was actually a complete joke. Thanks, chat. We now have enough green stars to visit World 2-2, so hopefully this one will be better than 2-3. Well, first off, this level doesn't take place underground, and it also allows you to tilt the camera around to use the trusty zigzag technique. And with all of these strategies, well, we can beat this level and keep the quest alive. 2-4 is not a very difficult level, as you can move the camera around. I do have to admit that the underground section scared me a little, but even there we can still move the camera, so no worries. 2-Mystery House forces you to defeat a couple of enemies for green stars, and it's not very difficult, as you can simply stay in the center of the box and defeat the enemies with your cat claws. Do some wall jumps to reach out the teleport box on the right side of the level, and that's it. The big Galumba's blockade from 2-A will not block you, as long as you stay in the very center of the stage, because if you decide to go left, well, you'll never be able to go back right, as the camera cannot be moved in this one. Thankfully, you can stay in the center of the arena and defeat all of the Galoombas that way. 2-5 is a very easy level, as long as you never grab the double cherry, because if you do that, you won't be able to move the camera around, and that could be a big problem. Avoid it at all costs and you'll be good. Welcome to World 2-Tank, the final level of this world, and this is a very difficult stage, because you'll need to move on this tank by using the cat dive attack. That's the only reliable way to make it out alive, so make sure to keep a cat suit or two and to avoid getting hurt by the bullet billies. After moving up this section, you'll have another weirdly angled section, which will force you to keep running up and into the wall in order to move right. It's confusing, kind of annoying, and requires you to be extra fast in your movements, but sooner than later, you'll get to the Mad Lad Boom Boom. Stay in the center of the battle arena and wait for him to put his head under your feet, and you'll get that victory in no time. World 3-1 Snowball Park is up, and this level is kind of easy, as you can twist the camera around to get wherever you need to be. 3-2 is not like that though, being an auto-scrolling stage that doesn't allow you to move the camera at all. I don't actually think this level is possible without pushing right, but who knows. It really doesn't matter, as 3-2 and 3-3 are on a split path, and 3-3 is an easier level that allows you to move the camera around. Some parts will actually be kind of difficult anyways because of the floor moving left and right, but you'll be able to zigzag your way across the boos and peepas and get to the flagpole. Not this one. And get to the real flagpole. 3-Captain Toad is home of more awkward camera angles and controls, but it's very easy nonetheless. 3-4 is a very easy and short level, as you can see the flagpole right from the start. Easy green stars for us. 3-A is yet another mini boss fight, and as usual, just use the left walls to wall jump back onto the right side and defeat the Magic Koopas. 3-5 is an underwater level, and I have to admit that this one is a little bit annoying. While underwater, your character is moving super slow, and you'll need to keep tilting the camera over and over again to move right, and this does take a while. It's not really difficult, just boring and tedious. World 3-6 is a funny looking one, as it looks like I'm running while holding right like a mad lad and cheating my quest, but I'm actually not. Simply cat dive on a boost panel and you'll automatically run like this. Now that's what I call an easy stage. 3-7 is kind of difficult, as the camera doesn't always move how you want it to. I suggest using the touch screen to move those arrow platforms if you want an easier time beating the stage. Now, welcome to World 3-Train, an auto-scroller that scared me for this challenge. And well, I guess I had good reasons to be afraid of this one. You fall down in this level facing up, and the train slowly moves away from you. Without any walls on the left side or any way to move the camera around to do the zigzag technique, we're in big trouble. I lost a lot of lives trying whatever came into my mind, and eventually I even tried using a second player to maybe help me out, but it's no use. Every character falls down facing upwards, and with no secret paths or shortcuts to skip this stage, we are actually forced to press right to get onto the train. It's such a shame too, because once you're on the train, you can do a bunch of cat dives and make your way to the end of it. Oh well, hopefully this was our first and last right press. Thankfully, World 3-B is a very easy boss fight, as we can spin the camera in every direction, allowing us to move almost freely. Yay! World 4-1 is kind of a difficult level, as the camera doesn't really move how we want it to, forcing us to do some really awkward cat dives and jumps to make it out alive. While on the big ants at the end, tilt the camera to the left and start wall jumping over and over again to try to get to the other side alive. Kinda confusing, but possible. 4-2 does contain a couple of tricky parts, with all of the evil plants on the way. Oh, and don't get me started on the underwater caves. You have to tilt the cam and keep pushing up and running into the wall to slowly make your way right, and this just takes forever. For World 4-A, just move up, grab the boulders, and into the trash they go. See ya! 4-3 does contain some beat blocks that appear and disappear as you move, so you'll have to be very careful. Oh, and make sure never to grab a double cherry, or else you lose the ability to move the camera and to beat the stage. 4-4 is super easy, and we can spin the camera to help us out, so no worries. Getting stars in World 4-Mystery Box is really complicated, especially this first one, as you need to move to the right super fast while jumping on the jump pads, and you only have 10 seconds to do so. It's a good thing you don't lose a life when failing the challenge, because it probably took me 50 tries to finally grab the green star. But thankfully, once that is done, you can get 5 extra green stars afterwards, up until you reach this one. This is sadly not possible for us in such a short time, but still, we got 6 green stars out of this mystery box, so I'm satisfied. 4-5 is a funny level, because you have to move left most of the time, which in today's challenge makes it one of the easiest levels ever. 4-Castle is also an easy stage, as the camera can be moved to help you get to the end and beat the boss. World 5-1 is a very easy beach-themed level, and to move right, you can tilt the camera around or use some cat dives. The second part that involves Plessy is also really easy, as you can just slow down or speed up to get onto the moving wooden bridges, so we're all good. And guess what? 5-Captain Toad is a total joke. World 5-2, the Tricky Trapeze Theater, does live up to its name because you'll need a bit of luck to make it to the end alive. Grabbing onto the Tricky Trapeze is pretty easy, but if you don't hold the direction after you let go, well, you have zero momentum and will just fall down like an idiot. This means that you'll need to be holding either up or down, leading to some very awkward jumps, but thankfully they're all possible to make. 5-3 is a very easy stage where you get 3 free green stars, so we're all good. The same thing can be said about 5-A, the Revenge of the Charging Chucks. 5-4 is an easy level and is the perfect place to grab some extra cat suits for other levels. Use the touchscreen to catch the annoying bunny before it moves to the right and you'll be all good. 5-5 is kinda hard though, taking place underground, but you are able to move the camera around, which helps out a lot. 5-6 is an easy level if you plan your jumps on those flipping blue and red platforms. The camera can be moved quite freely, and that's good. 5-7 is really difficult, but my speedrun strats actually helped me out a lot. Grab Cat Loogie and climb on those walls to skip some difficult parts at the start, and then spin the camera around until you reach the flagpole. Welcome to 5-Castle, a scary looking level that actually isn't really difficult, as the camera can be moved around and the zigzag technique is all that is needed to get to the end of it. World 6-1 is an easy level, and you can always tilt the camera when you need to move right, even inside those annoying clear pipes. 6-2 is also pretty easy, and moving the camera will lead you to the end of the stage. You might want to grab a catsuit to skip the underwater section though, as it's very difficult to keep one while being underwater and dodging those pipas. To beat 6-3, you'll also need to keep tilting the camera while navigating those beautiful Japanese houses. It's annoying but easy. And for 6-4, you'll want to tilt the camera and make it face that way, so all you have to do now is to move up. Trust me, it makes this level way easier that way. 6-A is not very difficult, as you can just use some wall jumps to move right if needed to go kick this boss's butt. 6-5 is not the easiest level, but it's also not the hardest. Just make sure to move when those big cloud dudes are not blowing wind, and you'll reach the end in no time. 6-6 is a very easy cat climbing level, and yet another place to get some free catsuits. I was actually a little bit scared of World 6-7 when planning this challenge, because this level is a vertical tower climb where you have to hurry up before those evil fuzzies eat you alive. But thankfully for me, the level is actually easy, and there are tons of walls onto the left side to allow you to face the right side and move freely with some cat dives. World 6-Tank is yet another auto-scroller level, meaning you'll need a catsuit to keep diving and moving up the stage. But sadly at one point, you'll need to climb onto a block, and this will mess up your angle, and doing cat dives will no longer help you out. Once you get to that point, you'll need to push right to readjust the angle, and since we're pressing right anyways at this part, let's keep holding it until we reach Boom Boom near the end. Quite an annoying level if you ask me. Before reaching World 7, we have to fight a boss on this cloud there, and we cannot move the camera to use the zigzag technique anymore, but we can thankfully just move up or down and the clouds will push us into the level. The stage is easy and will be done in no time, but once we leave it with the green star, well, we'll be stuck on the map. There's no way to move right anymore, and as I mentioned, we cannot tilt the camera on the cloud. Yep, this means that we have to push right yet another time to enter the clear pipe. This is getting out of hand. Come on, Nintendo, why do you do this to me? At least, World 7-1 is an easy stage where you'll be able to move the camera all over the place to make your way to the end. Same thing for 7-2, which is a top-down level, but we can always tilt the camera and help us reach where we want to go. 7-3 is kind of difficult, containing way too many boost panels and way too many pits you can fall down into, but thankfully tilting the camera can be done and will be done to help you move right when needed to gather those lovely green stars. 7-4 contains lots of platforms that keep popping out of the blue lava, and you'll have to be precise when moving onto these to avoid falling down. 7-A is a rematch against the boss from earlier in the game, so it's an easy fight. 7-B is also another rematch and poses no threat for the quest. 7-5 is really annoying, as we cannot even get this level started, because we have to move right to enter this big area, and there's just no way for us to go right. No wall to wall jump on, no camera controls, nothing. Hopefully 7-6 will be better to us. And well, it's an underwater stage, and you know how much I love those. This one in particular is really difficult and will force you to tilt the camera quite a lot if you intend to make it to the end alive. It's also in this stage that I learned that you can actually move right underwater if you crouch and then mash up and down on the D-pad. It's really similar to the Tanuki technique we use in Super Mario 3D Land No Left Challenge, but hey, it works, so I'm happy. 7-7 is not an easy level, because it's full of dry bones, lava, and flaming bubble enemies you'll need to dodge while using the camera zigzag technique to make your way to the right. Timing is key to beat this stage, and thankfully it's possible to beat it. Welcome to 7-Castle, a level that's not very difficult if you take your time and think before you act. This lava bubble bridge near the end looks very scary, but you can actually stop on the sides of the platform to avoid taking damage and make your way safe and sound onto the other side. The boss fight against Bowser's car is still very easy if you use the touchscreen to send the footballs back into Bow Bow's face. And with that dude defeated, we have completed the game and... wait a minute, no! Bowser, don't do that! World 8 is next, and 8-1 is actually not that hard if you move the camera and set it into epic angles that will help you move real fast on the spiky platforms. World 8-2 is a Plessis level, and sadly in this one, you actually need to move Plessis around or else you just fall down and die. Thankfully, we can just visit World 8-3 as it's on a split path, and well, yep, it's possible. This stage is full of delicious cookies and will force you to zigzag your way to the end, but it's not that difficult. Sadly, World 8-Train will not be that nice to us. You guessed it, it's a train level, meaning you start the stage facing up, with nothing to wall jump off of. We will have to push right yet another time, and to save us from pressing it even more down the level, let's just hold it until we reach Pum Pum. Defeating her is super easy, and we can move to yet another easy stage, 8-4. Slowly make your way onto the invisible bridges and tilt the camera when you need to, and this one will be done quickly. 8-5 is not very nice, and you'll be able to move the camera up until this part over there. I just couldn't find a big brain way to make my way onto the other side of that spiky platform without having to push right or something, so maybe we should come back to this one if we need to. Yup, it was located on yet another split path, meaning we can reach 8-6 immediately. Good news for us, this haunted house is not very difficult, and with those round spinning platforms and the camera tilting strats, we can face any direction we want and get to the end of it. 8-Mystery House is a place where you need to tilt the camera around in order to get to the end and grab all of its green stars, but it's possible to do it. 8-7 is one of the scariest levels in the game for me, because if you make one bad move, well, you fall down in the lava and you die. But thankfully, we can always tilt the camera in a way where we can walk on the blocks without ever needing to push right. 8-A and 8-B are rematch fights against Hisstocrats and Motley Buzzblob, and just like the first time we fought those guys, we can move the camera around freely, so no worries. And with all of those levels done, I realized I missed a couple of green stars in order to open up the final level, so I had to go back to previous levels where I skipped some and used some big brain strats to get them all, but alas, here we are, in World 8-Bowser, the final level. The level in itself is actually super easy and will never force you to push right, until you get to Meowser, that is. This is an auto-scroller fight, and this first part contains walls that allow you to move left and right as much as you want. For the second part, you'll have no choice but to move onto the left side, and with a cat suit, you can climb up without ever pushing right. That is, until you reach the green staircase of shame at the end. At first I thought you needed 2 right presses, one for this first stair and one for that one. But since we're on the left side, we can actually climb onto this wall there as Cat Luigi and make our way up the staircase with only 1 right press. Keep holding that right press and adjust your angle to slowly move up, and you'll reach the final POW block and defeat Meowser for good this time. We did it! We beat the game! But at what cost though? So, is it possible to beat Super Mario 3D World on the Wii U without pushing right? No, it's not, as we had to push right a couple of times in order to save ourselves from those annoying train and tank stages, and one more time onto the world map on this cloud platform, and then we had to push it again during the Meowser fight, bringing the total to 5 right presses. Not perfect, but not too bad either. Thank you so much for watching this video, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it and are also looking forward to my Bowser's Fury challenges coming real soon. Make sure to subscribe and to hit the bell if you don't want to miss a thing, and tap the cards on screen right now to watch yet another video For example, the Mario 3D World without pushing left. I'm just saying it's good. Anyways, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!